Chosen one. Right now, as you read these words, a cosmic revelation is tearing through the veil that has hidden a grotesque truth from you. The very person who wore the suffocating mask of concern for your well-being, who dared to pretend they cared while their soul festered with demonic envy. Their hatred of your divine light has been ripped open and exposed like a putrid wound for all of creation to witness. And that fake concern they spewed about you, that poisonous worry they spread like a spiritual plague, it's now making someone violently sick. Someone who was used as their weapon against you is right now spiritually vomiting as the truth destroys their programmed lies. The universe has orchestrated the most exquisite cosmic justice. Those who conspired to poison your path are now the ones drowning in their own toxicity. The electrical charge in the spiritual atmosphere erupts as their mask finally shatters into a million pieces of crystallized deception. This maternal or paternal figure who positioned themselves as your protector while secretly harboring the most venomous envy of your divine gifts. Their true face is being exposed like a demon caught in holy light. Every soul in your sphere can now see what we have always known. Their supposed concern for you was pure, undiluted jealousy, wearing a disguise so thin it makes me sick. The cosmic spotlight has turned on them with the intensity of 1,000 burning suns, and what the universe sees makes every star recoil in disgust. Their pretend worry about your choices, your path, your divine calling, all of it rooted in their inability to stomach the radiance that flows through you like molten gold through crystal. They couldn't bear to watch you ascend while they remained chained to their own mediocrity, so they weaponized concern itself. But here's what they never calculated. Chosen one. When you dance with darkness, eventually the music stops. And when silence falls, everyone sees exactly who you really are. Their soul was rotting from the inside, eaten alive by envy, so corrosive. It turned their blood to acid. Every smile they gave you was a grimace of pain. Every word of encouragement was baptized in their bitter resentment, their fake maternal concern, a venomous snake wearing the mask of a mother's love, their false paternal guidance, a predator in patriarch's clothing. They watched you grow, and instead of joy, they felt the burning pain of watching everything they wanted but could never be. Your gifts were a mirror reflecting their spiritual poverty, and instead of aspiring to your heights, they chose to drag you down to their hellish depths. The universe is now pulling back the curtain on their greatest performance. Years of Academy Award-worthy acting, where they played the concerned authority figure, while their soul writhed with demonic jealousy. Every furrowed brow of worry was sculpted by envy. Every helpful suggestion was poisoned with resentment. Every prayer they pretended to offer for you was actually a curse, disguised as blessing. The false romantic prospect they carefully selected and programmed is now experiencing a spiritual earthquake that's demolishing every foundation they thought they knew. This person, this innocent soul they corrupted with lies about you, is currently purging with violent spiritual sickness as they realize how catastrophically they were deceived. This betrayed soul is discovering that every natural attraction they felt was artificially manufactured. Their stomach turns with waves of nausea as each planted lie about your character comes up like spiritual bile, their dry heaving with the recognition that they were turned into a living weapon pointed at your heart. The person who approached you with what seemed like genuine attraction now understands they were possessed by someone else's narrative, controlled like a puppet dancing to your persecutor's demonic tune. We're watching cosmic justice unfold in the most perfect way. Their chosen instrument of your torture is now sick with the truth of their own manipulation. Every lie they were programmed to deliver is now making them physically ill as their spirit rejects the poison they carried. This puppet's awakening isn't gradual, it's violent. Like a spiritual detox that hits all at once, they're experiencing body-racking spasms of truth that force out every fabricated feeling they thought was authentic. Their consciousness is convulsing as it purges the artificial programming they received about you. The puppet had been living in a carefully constructed reality where you were the dangerous one, the unstable one, the one who needed careful management. But now they see the marionette strings that were attached to their heart, their mind, their very soul. They understand they weren't choosing you, they were assigned to you. They weren't protecting themselves from you, they were being used to attack you. And this realization is making them vomit with such force that their body is expelling years of programming in hours. Every lie is coming up sequentially, each one making them sicker than the last, because their spirit knows it was made to carry. Poison meant for your destruction. The arsenal of spiritual poison they armed your false lover with was crafted with surgical precision. These toxic instructions now make their puppet violently sick as they resurface. They can be extremely intense. Came the first injection of poison, delivered with pseudo-concern. You'll need to approach them carefully. They don't handle genuine intimacy well. The audacity, the sheer cosmic obscenity of painting your divine capacity for deep connection as a pathological condition. Layer by layer, they built their puppet's false understanding of you. They spoke of your alleged emotional instability, your supposed need for constant management, your fictional inability to maintain healthy relationships. They crafted elaborate narratives about your past disappointments, your supposed trust issues, your imaginary patterns of pushing people away. They'll test you, the poisoner continued, injecting doubt like a spiritual IV drip. They don't believe they deserve real love, so they'll sabotage good things. You'll need patience. You'll need to prove yourself repeatedly. You'll need to save them from themselves. Each lie was carefully calibrated to make your false lover feel like a savior approaching a victim, a stable force approaching chaos, a healthy person approaching dysfunction. They positioned themselves as your hero, and you as their mission, a dynamic designed to keep them blind to your actual divine nature. And now this corrupted soul is vomiting these lies back up like their spirit is performing an exorcism. Each fabricated story about your character is coming up like spiritual poison, making them so sick they can barely function. The universe is forcing them to taste the venom they carried, and the flavor is making them retch with divine revulsion. The puppet is discovering that every warning they received was actually a lie told to keep them from seeing your light. Every concern they were given was designed to make them approach you as a problem to solve rather than a soul to celebrate. The spiritual nausea they're experiencing isn't just from the lies. It's from recognizing how thoroughly they were used as an instrument of your persecution. The false lover's entire reality is imploding with catastrophic force as they grasp the magnitude of their deception. The spiritual vertigo they're experiencing is so intense they can barely stand. Their comfort zone, built on carefully constructed lies about you, is crashing down like a house of cards in a hurricane. They're experiencing what I call divine motion sickness, the disorienting effect of suddenly seeing truth after being made to live in a house of mirrors. Every interaction they had with you is now being recontextualized through the lens of truth, and their spirit is revolting against what they now understand was their participation in spiritual warfare against you. The false lover is discovering that every red flag they were warned about was actually your light casting shadows that their handlers feared. What they were taught to see as your weakness was your strength, operating at frequencies their puppeteers couldn't comprehend. Now, drowning in this revelation, they're sick with the recognition of their role in your persecution. But this isn't just mental anguish, it's physical. Their body is rejecting the false reality they've been living in. They're experiencing actual nausea as their stomach churns with the recognition of how they've been used. Cold sweats break out as they realize they weren't your lover. They were your assigned prosecutor, judge, and jury rolled into one. Hey, this is Mike and Airy cutting into your regularly scheduled Chosen One programming for just a moment. We are the founders of the Obsidian Inner Order and the Astral Atom Network. And we're done playing nice. We're in a spiritual war. You know it, we know it. And we're out here bleeding for this mission. Full time. I'm hungry for fourth dimensional Archon blood, but we need the ammunition. So listen, when you join the Inner Order, you're not just supporting us, you're getting access to exclusive tools they never wanted you to have. Psychic self-defense training, targeted individual intel, spiritual warfare tactics they scrub from the internet, and every week we meet in secret, chosen ones only, on Zoom. No filters, no fluff, just real gnosis, real family, real power. It's a 360-degree win. You get what you need. We get to keep fighting. So don't just watch, drop a like. Share this video to everyone you know now, and join the Obsidian Inner Order. Let's finish what we started. Link in the description. Let's freaking go. The puppet is now retching as they understand that every moment of caring they showed you was tainted with the lies they'd been fed. Every time they thought they were being gentle with your fragility, they were actually handling a powerhouse with kid gloves. Every time they thought they were managing your instability, they were trying to dim a light that burned too bright for their handler's comfort. Their spiritual stomach is in revolt. This isn't just nausea, it's their soul rejecting the poisonous reality they were made to accept. And with each wave of sickness, another lie surfaces, is expelled, and gets replaced with burning truth. The diabolical genius of how they weaponized the very energy of care itself now stands exposed like an infected wound in broad daylight. Your tormentor transformed concern, one of humanity's most sacred expressions, into a delivery system for spiritual venom. Every time they said, "I'm just worried about them," they were injecting poison directly into the spiritual bloodstream of everyone in your circle. "I only want what's best for them." These words became a virus spreading through your community, infecting others with doubt about your character, your choices, your very essence. They turned love into a Trojan horse, smuggling hatred past everyone's defenses by wrapping it in the banner of care. Your false lover now sees this clearly, and the recognition is making them retch with horror. They understand now that they weren't expressing genuine affection. They were carrying out a spiritual assault disguised as romance. The very emotions they thought were their own were artificially implanted, and this realization is causing them to expel everything they believed about your connection. The puppet is now experiencing the full horror of understanding how care was perverted into a weapon. Every time they thought they were protecting you, they were actually monitoring you. Every time they believed they were offering support, they were actually gathering intelligence. Every expression of love was contaminated with the mission to change, fix, or control you. They're gagging as they realize that their concern for your well-being was actually concern for their handler's version of what you should be. Their love wasn't love for you. It was love for an imaginary version of you that would validate their handler's narrative. Their care wasn't care for your soul. It was care for keeping you locked in the prison their handler had built. The contagion of truth is spreading like wildfire through your tormentor's poisonous network. Person by person, soul by soul, those who bought into the false narrative about you are now experiencing their own spiritual purging. The co-conspirators who parroted your persecutors' concerns are discovering how deeply they were infected with lies. Each member of their poisonous network is having their own awakening earthquake. Former friends who repeated the worries about you, family members who questioned your choices based on these planted doubts, colleagues who subtly treated you differently after being briefed, they're all now sick with the recognition of their participation in your spiritual assassination. The beautiful thing about truth is that it's contagious in the best way. Like a spiritual detox that spreads person to person, each confession leads to another, each revelation making the next person ill with shame. Your entire social ecosystem is experiencing violent spiritual vomiting as these lies are expelled from their systems. One former friend is now choking on the memory of how they nodded along when your tormentor expressed concern about your life choices. Another is retching as they remember how they subtly pulled away from you after being warned about your alleged instability. A family member is heaving as they recall how they questioned your judgment based on carefully planted doubts. The network is discovering that they weren't just inactive bystanders. They were active participants in a campaign of spiritual terrorism. Each person who believed a lie about you, who repeated concerns about you, who treated you differently based on false information, they all have blood on their hands, and now they're being forced to taste it. The domino effect is magnificent. To behold, one person's confession triggers another's awakening. One person's spiritual vomiting causes another's recognition. The entire web of lies is unraveling as each thread of truth pulls down the whole structure. The most exquisite cosmic justice unfolds as those who should have protected you are now drowning in their own betrayal. Family members who sided with your tormentor, friends who chose to believe comfortable lies over uncomfortable truths, advisors who validated this person's false concerns, they're all now experiencing the spiritual equivalent of food poisoning. The guilt is making them physically ill. Every time they remember nodding along with fabricated worries about you, their stomachs turn. Every moment they recall when they could have defended you but chose the path of least resistance. It's all coming back up like spiritual bile. These enablers are learning the hard truth. Being neutral in the face of spiritual warfare makes you complicit in evil. And right now, that complicity is making them so sick they can't escape their own bathrooms. The universe has a sense of humor, doesn't it? Those who digested lies about you are now vomiting the truth. One enabling family member is now gagging as they remember how they suggested you were going through a phase when you tried to distance yourself from your tormentor. Another enabler is retching as they recall advising you to try to understand your persecutors' concerns. A third is dry heaving as they relive the moment they told you that your tormentor only wants what's best. The enablers are discovering that their neutrality wasn't neutral. It was active participation in your crucifixion. Every time they failed to defend you, every time they suggested you should compromise with evil, every time they painted your healthy boundaries as overreaction, they were hammering nails into your spiritual cross. And now they're choking on those same nails as truth forces them to swallow what they helped create. The poison they allowed to be fed to others is now backing up in their own systems, and their bodies are rejecting it with violent, uncontrollable purging. Your tormentor is watching their masterpiece crumble in the most devastating way possible. The false lover they so carefully programmed, the puppet they controlled with surgical precision, this person is now betraying everything by choosing. Truth over comfort. Your persecutor's horror deepens as they watch their perfect weapon turn into a confessing witness. The false lover isn't just sick, they're testifying. Every lie they were programmed to believe about you is now being exposed in their violent spiritual detox. They're not just rejecting the poison, they're identifying its source. This is cosmic. Justice operating at its most efficient. The very tool of your destruction becomes the instrument of their exposure. Your tormentor's own weapon is now pointing back at them, loaded with the truth they never wanted revealed. The puppet master is experiencing their own form of spiritual nausea now. Watching their carefully orchestrated plan collapse in real time is making them sick. Every confession from their puppet is like acid eating through their carefully constructed narrative. Every truth that spills out is dissolving years of meticulous manipulation. Panic is setting in for your tormentor as they realize their puppet has become their biggest liability. Every wretch, every purge, every confession from their false lover is dragging another lie into the light. Their perfect plan is dissolving in a puddle of their puppet's spiritual vomit. They're scrambling to control the narrative now, but try controlling someone who's violently detoxing from your lies. They're watching years of careful manipulation unravel in real time as their weapon turns into their worst nightmare, a witness who knows everything. Your persecutor never anticipated this scenario, their puppet getting so sick from the truth that confession becomes the only relief. Now they're discovering that when you build your empire on lies, eventually someone's going to throw up all over your foundation. The master manipulator is experiencing their own version of spiritual nausea as they watch their creation spiral beyond their control. They're realizing that puppet strings become nooses when the puppet learns to cut them. They're understanding that when you program someone with lies, eventually the programming crashes and takes everything with it. Your tormentor is now retching themselves as they see their reflection in their puppet's confessions. Every lie their puppet pukes up reflects back their own spiritual corruption. Every truth that surfaces exposes not just the puppet's deception, but the master's evil. They're discovering the ultimate irony. In trying to make you sick through their puppet, they've created a virus that's now infecting their entire system. Their false concerns have made everyone sick, including themselves. The circle is now complete, in the most extraordinary way. Your false lover, having expelled every lie, having purged every fabrication, is now defending you with the passion of someone who knows they were weaponized against innocence. They've become your most powerful advocate precisely because they know intimately how you were slandered. Listen to them now. Everything they told me was a lie. This person never needed fixing, never needed managing, never needed the careful handling they prescribed. I was sent to heal someone who wasn't broken, to save someone who didn't need saving. Your accuser has become your champion. Your persecutor's weapon has become your shield. The very tool they forged for your destruction now testifies to your innocence with the authority of inside knowledge. But this vindication goes deeper than simple testimony. Your false lover is now experiencing what you experienced, the isolation that comes from seeing truth others refuse to acknowledge. They're feeling the loneliness of being gaslit by the very people who sent them to gaslight you. They're tasting the bitter medicine of being called unstable for simply telling the truth about what they've witnessed. The false lover has become a true victim-turned-advocate. They understand now what it means to carry the light in a world that fears brightness. They know what it's like to have your love used as a weapon against you. They've experienced the particular pain of being made to doubt your own perceptions, while others insist their lies are reality. And in this shared experience of persecution for truth-telling, A new alliance is born. Not romantic love, that was always corrupted, but the pure alliance of truth-bearers, light carriers, chosen ones who've seen through the cosmic deception.